Hey everyone, this is Quissy here, and last night in the closed beta I decided to try something a little bit different. I decided to change my talents to the Prot tree, so that I could attempt to tank some 5-man dungeons in the closed beta at level 30. Now, I don't have a script for this video, I'm just gonna kind of free talk about what I did, the talents I was using, the buffs and everything, and just my strategy, really, in terms of pulling mobs. So let's get right into it. I started off by getting some points in the Holy Tree, because I wanted Consecration. Consecration is great for AoE threat generation. Now, I went with the first talent, Divine Strength. I could have gone with Divine Intellect. I'm actually open to feedback from you guys as to what you think would be better for a Prot Pally, either the Intellect or the Strength buff. At this point, I'm not really sure. However, I did go with the improved Seal of Righteousness for the additional holy damage. That's going to be big for you. Holy damage works great with Righteous Fury, which increases your threat based on your holy damage. So definitely wanted to go with the increased holy damage. And finally, went with Consecration. Alright, so moving along to the Prot talent tree, I went with Redoubt to start. Increased block chance is always great. I decided not to go with Devotion Aura because I was primarily use Ret Aura for this experiment. Ret Aura does additional holy damage, so any additional holy damage that I am dealing is more threat for me. Definitely great for AoE and mob pulls. Now, I also went with Precision. The extra hit rating is integral for tanking, and also decided to go with Guardian's Favor for the reduced cooldown on your Blessing of Protection and increased duration of Blessing of Freedom. Now, I originally planned to get improved Righteous Fury. I didn't have enough talent points because I'm at level 30, so this was kind of interesting. I didn't know if this would be viable for me to do without improved Righteous Fury. Righteous Fury increases the threat generated by your holy attacks by 60%. So with the improved Righteous Fury, it increases your holy threat generation by even more. So right off the bat, it is mandatory for every Prot Paladin to always have Righteous Fury active. The seal that I plan to use is Seal of Righteousness, because that grants an additional holy damage per attack, which is more threat for you, and using that in conjunction with Judgment, obviously. Consecration for AoE, holy damage threat generation, and Red Aura for more holy threat generation. Now, as for group buffs, I blessed myself with Wisdom, and I blessed everybody in the group with Salvation. I started with Salvation on the healer, too, just to see, but after some time had passed, I did switch to putting Wisdom on the healer, and it was totally fine. But having Salvation on the DPS was super important. Anytime the buffs fell off mid-battle, it was definitely noticeable for me. They were pulling aggro, and I know that some DPS can use some threat-reducing abilities, but I figured just having Salve on them is a lot easier on their end so that they don't have to worry about using abilities such as Feign Death. They could focus purely just on DPSing and not having to reduce their threat generation. And we had a Druid healer. I think that a Prot Pally and a Resto Druid really complement each other nicely. Like, for example, Mark of the Wild is great, Thorns works great with Ret Aura. I know Thorns isn't holy damage, but any additional AoE damage just adds to your threat generation. I'm also going to add an Iron Spike to my shield for a little bit of additional damage there as well. And another thing about Resto Druids is they don't have a traditional res. They have a battle res, but Resto Druids and Prot Pallies complement each other nicely is that I can res in the event that somebody in our party dies. So we started with RFK. I didn't really know what to expect. I think I did a pretty good job. I mean, like I said, I was able to maintain threat on most of the mobs unless two things had come up. If the Blessing of Salvations had fallen off, or if I ran out of mana. So really, a big thing for me that I'm going to try to improve on is my mana pool and how to better manage my mana more efficiently. For example, Consecration costs a lot of mana. Maybe I don't have to use that on cooldown for every pull. It's very situational. Potions like Elixir of Wisdom, also use the Sagefish food buff, that'll help with mana regen. Right now for me, that's my biggest concern, making sure that I can manage my mana properly. The other thing, too, is, just maintaining the blessings on the people in your party. Again, I only experimented with this for one night at level 30, not level 60, max level, or anything like that. And, even like the mob packs in Nomer, I was really able to maintain threat as long as I dropped the Consecration. And, Seal of Righteousness was really helpful, too, to judge that immediately on the elite targets. Now, some things I'm curious about are, like, maybe for long boss fights, I could start the fight with Seal of the Crusader, judge that, and then switch to Seal of Righteousness. Seal of the Crusader, once it's judged on a target, it increases the holy damage that that target takes. So I'm thinking if I judge Crusader on a boss, then switch to Righteousness, it'll only allow me to generate more threat, because I'll be doing a lot more holy damage. Something else that I haven't addressed is our lack of a taunt. So Prot Paladins do not have a taunt ability. There's a couple workarounds for this, one being that you could use Blessing of Protection. So if somebody pulls aggro from you, you could just throw a Blessing of Protection on them, and they'll drop aggro immediately, and the mob can return to you. Just don't forget to put Salvation back on that target after the blessing falls off. Additionally, you could also use Hammer of Justice. I noticed that if a mob was low health, was about to die, but it switched targets, I just stunned it with Hammer of Justice, so that whoever pulled aggro is protected for those last few seconds while the mob was alive. So using Blessing of Protection and Hammer of Justice were beneficial to me, and a little bit of a workaround for not having a traditional taunt. I'll only be doing 5-man dungeons with this. I have zero intention or interest to ever attempt to tank as a Prot Pally in a raid, as a side note. I like thinking outside the box a little bit, and trying different things in Classic. I think that's what the Classic experience is all about, the ability to customize your character in different ways, and just think outside the box. I really enjoy doing that. Prot Pallies get shit on a lot, I know. I thought it'd be fun to test it out and see if it was viable. And all in all, I think I did a pretty good job. And tonight we're gonna try SM Library, so I'm really excited for that. Today I'm gonna work on getting more gear, get my buffs and my consumables in order, and go from there. I don't know if I missed anything. I was just kind of talking about my experience last night. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys have any tips or advice for prot tanking, I am totally open to it. As I said, this is new to me, but I thought it was a lot of fun, and I really look forward to tanking more dungeons in the near future in the closed beta. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. You could also subscribe to my YouTube channel to get notified when I upload a new video. You could also follow my live stream at QuissyTV over on Twitch and QuissyTV on Twitter. Thanks again for watching, guys, and we'll see you soon.